All right, welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Biz TV. We're just breezing our way through the first hour of a Thirsty Thursday edition. And there's a lot going on out there. It's actual sheer madness, what's going on all across our country. Are they locking us down for no reason? Are they trying to fix it for Biden? Who knows what's happening? But what we know is this, that there is as much evidence out there that there are mental and substance abuse problems happening because of the lockdown as there is from the actual medical issues from the lockdown. And someone who knows all sides of this joins us right now. Andrew McKenna is with us, along with my good buddy Frank Morano. And Andrew was a federal prosecutor, wound up being a federal prisoner because he had some, he's a Marine Air Force veteran, and had some painkiller issues that led to some craziness that actually put you on a downward spiral that you wind up robbing banks.
Yeah, that's
right? And you went from the guy chasing the criminals to the guy getting chased by the prosecutors.
Right. Yeah. It was incredible story. Really. It's and it's so common, as we're seeing. You know, we see people out working. They hurt their backs or their knees, whatever, and they start taking prescription pain meds. And you know, eventually it's a downward spiral if you're not super careful. There's been a lot of changes, I think, in terms of prescribing practices with doctors, and the awareness is raised. One thing, you know, that we really have to focus on is the stigma of addiction, and you know, supporting people who speak up and say, I have an issue, or I'm getting nervous about this. I just had a call this morning, and I get calls all the time from a family concerned about their loved one, their son, sports injury in high school, and he's kind of off to the races right now. So very interesting. One thing you mentioned, John, is that, you know, in COVID-19 era, and you know, I was talking to Frank about this earlier, the relapse rates for whether it's alcohol or pills or, you know, whatever the drugs, are super high. And one of the, you know, when we talk about access to healthcare, access to treatment, those numbers are way down. And so, you know, encouraging people to speak up and ask for help is really super critical right now.
Andrew, both Frank and I have serious alcoholism problems.
Well, I think there's a big difference. Look, I get this is a subject for a separate show, but I think there's a big difference between somebody who is a heavy drinker, which I think you and I would both fit that definition, John,
yeah.
And to salute.
Yeah,
and someone who is an alcoholic. To me, alcoholism dictates kind of a control of your life spiraling out of control, an inability to do without alcohol, which I don't think either you or me deals with. But you know, who knows? I mean, maybe if you're the guy drunk at the bar and everyone else is telling you that you're too drunk to drive and you're the one insisting that you can drive, maybe you're never your own best drudge of your own sobriety.
You're the drunk guy.
But I'm not buying that for a second. Yeah. I know you guys have problems. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you guys. I can get you guys placed.
When you're talking about,
I'm not sure John has insurance now.
When you got to check out, you're part of this new organization.
Well, I do want to mention though, John, this book, Sheer Madness, is absolutely terrific. So it's Andrew's book. I read it before I met him, and this book is a page turner. I absolutely couldn't put it down. At first, I was intrigued by the cover when it says from federal prosecutor to federal prisoner, and I asked the guy that gave it to me, is this real? Is this a dramatization? Is it a novel? And the guy that gave it to me says, no, it's absolutely real. Sure enough, I pick it up, and you find yourself, it's such an incredibly compelling story. 1 minute you find yourself laughing, the next minute you find yourself crying, the next minute you find yourself just completely on edge, in suspense, waiting to see what's going to happen. And what everybody likes about books these days is it's short. So it's not a lengthy read. So you can breeze through it, and it is just phenomenal. But I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No, you got to check out Sheer Madness because this is real. I love true stories. This is the true story of a guy who put his life on the line for us. had some injuries. Those injuries caused him painkiller addictions, and went from someone out there prosecuting criminals to somebody behind bars. Now you picked yourself up from that, and you're working with this organization, Transformation and Recovery, down in Delray, Florida. Yeah. The organization is for military veterans and first responders who have issues with this stuff. How important is to get the word out that there is help out there for these people?
Especially for veterans and first responders. I mean, we see what's happening across the country right now. A lot of it just turns my stomach. So, these guys, are, and gals, I mean, they're risking their lives day in and day out, whether it's the, veterans, and of course I was a veteran, I was a Marine officer, and then, police officers too. They have to speak up and ask for help. The great thing I love about Transformations is that we actually treat those specific groups with specific protocols, and we're coming from a place of compassion. We understand the unique challenges they face, and whatever I can do to help, reach out to me, and this is what I do. This is what
let's talk about the situation involving veterans health care. I've heard for the last few years, now this is purely anecdotal, I don't have any statistics to back this up or any firsthand knowledge, this is purely secondhand, totally anecdotal, but I've heard that a lot of veterans have been going to VA healthcare treatment facilities with injuries. Maybe it's injuries they sustained in combat or elsewhere, but they have pains, they have this, they have that, and because of things like healthcare rationing or whatever else, instead of doing the necessary surgeries, be it for a knee, a back, or whatever else, they're giving these veterans prescription pain medication, and they've turned an entire group of people, these veterans with chronic pain problems, into drug addicts. How true is that from what you're seeing?
No, it's absolutely accurate, and tens of thousands of veterans coming back, and we know, we talk about the physical injuries, 1 in 5 at least, and I think that number's low, 1 in 5 coming back from Iraq or Afghanistan are experiencing PTSD, depression, and we're talking on very serious levels. And we talk about the VA, and they've done a lot of work, and there's been changes over the last 2 or 3 years, and a lot of it's the Trump administration pushing for changes, which was one of his campaign promises. But anyhow, he followed through, and we're seeing good changes. Here's the problem. It's access to health care for veterans, and it's opening up the private sector. But one of the challenges what we have is that private sector places have to be vetted by the VA. They have to be vetted by Optum, which is a wonderful insurance outfit, but they have a huge task in front of them. But there's really qualified treatment facilities, Transformations being one of them, that has an actual veterans program, and not just in words, but they have it, but we have to get the approval. We have to get the approval from Optum. 13% right now of private mental health providers meet their criteria. We certainly do. But that's it. It's access to health care. Let's get these people, the most valued people.
Fought for us, fought for our liberty, fought for all the stuff we want our country to stand for.
Yeah, let's go.
In our last couple of minutes here, Donald Trump talks about how the VA has a 91% approval rating. I don't know how well that stands up to what you know from guys who are veterans and use the system. Is it better under Donald Trump?
It is better. It is better, and I'm not a political guy, but it is better because he made it better. And the idea was, he basically said years ago, fire all of them and start over. And of course that's not possible, but yeah, it is better, but they have a long way to go. And opening it up to no veteran should be on a waiting list. If it's 2 or 3 days, they shouldn't be on a 2 or 3 day waiting list.
They didn't wait to show up to get deployed.
Absolutely.
They went there on the report date.
And they're not getting rich doing it, right?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
They put their life on the line.
That's right.
Final minute we have, Andrew, literally 40 seconds if you can. There's a proposal out of Washington, D.C. to let people that are currently in prison vote. And maybe this is a longer discussion for another day, but I know you've written on the subject, you've been in federal prison. Do you think people currently serving prison time should be able to vote?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's enough punishment. I know we're limited here with time. There's enough punishment already going on. Taking away somebody's voting right is not a punishment. In fact, it's counterproductive. voting is, a chance to be rehabilitated.
Well, you got to come back. We're going to do this again in the future.
Doubt about it. All right, you're watching a Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch, and you know what? I agree with you, brother. People are paying their price to society by doing the jail time. This one liberty we have of voting, maybe it shouldn't be taken away from them. They should be able to speak from a different perspective. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Thank you.
Check out Transformation and Recovery, and check out the Community Care Network, CCN. If you need some help, reach out to us, reach out to Andrew, and we're here for you. You're watching Liquid Lunch. We'll be back right after this.